there's been a lot of pivots this year. There've been a lot of moments of, oh my gosh, what's next? What do we do? How do we navigate associations, and to be able to be that trusted space, that safe space, like we mentioned with Presidential Forum, to be able to be that space for the community, there's a lot of pride in that, to be able to serve and give back in that way. COVID changed the way we relate to people, the way that we market to people, the needs of of your target audience. It may, from a marketing perspective, it changed in the way it made real and authentic relationships more important than ever before. Presenting yourself in a real and authentic way. You look at videos, marketing videos. Now, if you're scrolling through your Instagram, they're no longer like highly produced pieces. It's somebody in their kitchen with dirty dishes behind them, selling whatever it is they're talking about. It's influencer based. It's community based. That's the marketing. And so my big question is, how can you incorporate what's going on there into the association space? And how can you make the associations relevant in that way for your younger members? I mean, I've done sessions across the country for the last year and a half on how do you market to 3 different generations at the same time? Because your buyer and your buyer journey is 3 different generations that receive messages in 3 completely different ways. And the answer is video. But that would be my question to associations, is how can you bring in those principles into your retention of younger members?
That's why, Ben, we're so excited about what we're doing with UST Education. We call it a conference every week, because the idea that you have to go to a conference and physically like wait for whatever that date once a year that conference is, so you can only get your continuing education that in July or whatever, in September of the year, and you got to pay an exorbitant amount for hotel bills and flights, and you're out of pocket for a whole week. I mean, like what organization or association can afford to have somebody out for that long a period of time, not to mention the out of pocket cost. So that's part of why we started UST Education with a conference, with this tagline of a conference every week, that every week somebody can come to us and get some meaningful content, and it doesn't cost anything, and they get their credits.
YouTube is such a powerful tool. And I think one of the big trends I'm seeing right now is micro learning and modular content. So breaking that hour-long webinar up into small bite-size, on-demand, a specific skill set. I mean, you have to remember our attention spans are getting less and less by the day. So that micro learning and that modular content, trying to figure out a way to present that in a relevant way to the community. So maybe it's taking, Jake, one of your webinars and breaking that down into, 5-minute pieces and putting that on YouTube and letting that be a hit.
Or
That
LinkedIn
leads
Learning. And
LinkedIn
that's
Learning.
obviously.
But to your point, Ben, I think that the community colleges have been overlooked in terms of how maybe associations can partner with a higher education institution in terms of getting reskilling and upskilling. But for them to issue like a certification, there's no like um, certification program, so they can stand this up very, very fast.
Instagram is now indexed on Google. So what does that mean? That means that if your profile, let me qualify a profile, it has to be a business profile and it has to be public. Okay. If your profile, so if you started an association podcast Instagram and you're putting content on that, anything that's in your comment section is now indexed by Google. That is SEO food. So keywords are right in there in Google, and you have a little bit more, I would say, it's a little more casual than LinkedIn or even your blog. Your keywords can literally be bullet points on in your caption for that content. So that is a game changer. So instead of thinking, when you're going into your LinkedIn strategy, instead of thinking about your posting strategy, what is your commenting strategy? And how much are you engaging in your community? How much are you giving back? Once you start engaging in your community and you start commenting, you're going to have people that are going to start engaging back with you. So I would say for somebody right now that's looking at their social media strategy, I would ask that question: what's your commenting strategy? Video content is king. A video is going to stop somebody in a scroll before a graphic.
I'm ready for it.